Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio, your station for empowerment, music, and talk radio. EB Radio presents Empower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The Empower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Good evening, amazing people, and welcome back to Empower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore Smith, and it is another amazing Wednesday, and I'm super excited that you are tuning into the show this evening. If it's your first time tuning in, I just want you to know that I believe that you have the power to be great, have great, and do great. You just have to be willing to unleash your greatness and take action. So, today, amazing people, we are talking about how it is time to unleash your greatness. It is time to unleash your greatness. So, for many of us, we may feel stuck. A lot of us are dealing with self doubt and really trying to overcome imposter syndrome. And so today we are going to talk about how important it is for us to first recognize that we do have the power within us. It's important for us to recognize that we are created for greatness. But here's what I need us to understand. So here's what I need each and every one of you that's listening right now to understand is that you have to unleash, you have to activate whatever word or term you want to utilize, but you have greatness in you. But most of us are just allowing the greatness just to sit and not doing anything with the greatness. And so we have to be willing to unleash our greatness, to activate our greatness, to cultivate our greatness. And so we are going to talk about what that looks like for each and every one of us. If you are feeling stuck, if you are in a mode where you are dealing with limiting beliefs, if you are in a mode where you are dealing with the narrative that you are telling yourself from day to day. Because what I know is that we cannot begin to unleash, we cannot begin to cultivate or even activate the greatness within us if we are dealing with the narrative that we're telling ourselves. So the society already has narrative that they've put on each and every one of us. But when we are dealing with the narrative that we are telling ourselves from a day to day about our own greatness, that is the thing that we have to deal with. If I can just say that we got to deal with self in so many different ways. And before we can begin to live in our purpose, before we can begin to really unleash the greatness that is within us, we have to deal with that doubt. And so we're going to tap into that for tonight. And I just hope that in hearing and listening, that you are able to pull out something that you feel can really encourage you, that will motivate you, that will empower you to unleash your own greatness. So let's talk about it, because if I know one thing, I know that I have dealt with my own struggles. I have dealt with my own self doubt over the years. And we know how we have a tendency to get in our own way. We have a tendency to get in our own way. And you know that is so true. It has been true for me many and many times when there's opportunities that I see that I'm like, you know what, this may be good. And guess what? The self doubt comes in, the narrative comes in. Oh, you can't do this, or how are you going to do that? You don't have this resource. But what I know is that we have the resources within us. And if we would just be willing to take that step, again, the key word is willing. If we would be willing to take the step and utilize and believe that we can do it, we don't understand that is the first step. Okay, that is the first step to actually unleashing your greatness. If you have to recognize that you have the greatness within you, because if you don't recognize that you have the greatness within you, How can you unleash something? How can you activate something? How can you cultivate something within you when you have not even recognized that it's there?
Hey there, busy professionals and small business owners. Are you struggling to keep track of your tasks and projects? Do you find it challenging to stay organized and focused with all the chaos of daily responsibilities? Well, we've got just a solution for you, Todoist. Todoist is a powerful to-do list and task manager designed to help professionals and small businesses like yours streamline their tasks, projects, and so much more. Imagine having all your tasks and projects neatly organized in one place, easily accessible whenever you need them. With Todoist, you can boost your personal and team productivity, enhancing your efficiency and focus throughout the day. I personally use Todoist every single day, and it has revolutionized the way I manage my work and stay on top of my priorities. If you're looking for a tool that will genuinely help you get organized and stay focused, Todoist is your answer. But don't just take my word for it. Try it out for yourself and experience the difference. The link to try Todoist is in the show notes. Trust me, you won't regret it. So, what are you waiting for? Click that link in the show notes and start your journey towards unparalleled productivity today. That's Todoist, where your to-do list becomes a done list.
So you have to be willing to recognize the power that you have in you. I know each and every one of you that's listening right now, whether you choose to believe it or not, I know that you have power within you because I know that God has given it to you. So we look at each and every person that is outside of ourselves and say, you know what? I believe that that person is so successful, or I see that person is successful and they're doing big things. They have greatness within them. And then we compare ourselves to other people. Well, what I'm going to tell you is it is not ever good to compare yourself to someone else. Who you need to be comparing yourself to is yourself and your progress that you've made. So what you did last year, the goals that you set, the goals that you've set, the accomplishments that you've made. You should not be looking at someone else's success. You should not be looking at someone else's journey and comparing yourself to that person and saying they are great, but yet you fail to realize and recognize the greatness within yourself. And so today, and I just jumped right in because as you can tell, this is something that I truly am super passionate about, and everyone else recognizing that they have the potential to be, do, and have what they want in life. Again, we just have to be willing to unleash that greatness and take action. So if you're feeling like you're alone, if you're feeling like you are inadequate, if you're feeling the self doubt and those limiting beliefs that come in, what I'm going to tell you is that it's completely normal because we all experience those moments. We all have those feelings of where the negativity come in, right? But here's the thing, it should not be a place, it should not be a state where you are continuing to be in that mode. We've all experienced self doubt. But here's the thing, it should be a temporary feeling. It should not become a constant feeling. It should not become a constant feeling of, I'm not worthy of achievements. I'm not worthy of a title. I'm not worthy of anything. I'm not worthy of greatness because what I will tell you is that you are. You are worthy. And so it's that thing where we deal with that imposter syndrome and how to overcome that imposter syndrome so that we're not worried and so that we can see our own greatness so that when we stand in front of the mirror, we recognize who we are, whose we are. And so we know that the power within us, we know where it comes from, but we also know how we need to take action. And so this is so good. This is so, so good. Because at the end of the day, when we think about imposter syndrome, it is literally that pattern of self doubt that we deal with from a day to day. And it's that fear of being exposed as a fraud, if you will. It's the feeling of being inadequate and incompetent, and it's those feelings despite knowing and having the proof, and there's evidence that you are adequate, that you are great, that you do have greatness within you. And so there's so many of us that deal with this from a day to day that we're dealing. And I really, if I can say this, I really think that social media social media, while it is great, okay, it is great, but I think social media, technology, and just how things have continued to advance over the years has really positioned many of us to feel that imposter syndrome, because we're looking at, again, everyone else's accomplishments. We're looking at everyone else's achievements. We're even looking at our own and then comparing it to other people's achievements and accomplishments. What I'm going to tell you throughout today's show and each show that you will be tuning into is, do not brush off your successes. Do not brush off your accomplishments. Do not brush off you being celebrated and needing to be celebrated. Okay, that is a part of the greatness that is within you. And when we have those negative thoughts, when we have that negative narrative that is continuing to come in day out, day in and day out, it is harmful to our self-confidence. And what that means is, it's harmful to our self confidence, it's harmful to our greatness. It is what is ultimately holding you back from future success, from achieving your goals, from unleashing your greatness, from cultivating your greatness, from activating your greatness. When you have feelings of inadequacy, and those thoughts go through your mind, those thoughts are harmful to your greatness. Now, again, I said that we all experience self doubt, we all experience that negative self talk at times, but we have to be willing to turn around that negative self talk into positive self talk. So when as soon as we have those thoughts, we can then begin to say, you know what? I am not going to say I can't, because I know I can, because the proof is there. I have done other things in the past. And so I know that I can do this. And so when we begin to, again, turn the negative self-talk around, then we begin to deal with our greatness, to develop our greatness. Now, for many of us, and I'll tell you, one of the things that I dealt with dealing with my own, trying to unleash my greatness and my own imposter syndrome, was the fact that I thought that I had to be a perfectionist. Now, for those of you that are listening, that are out there, that understand about perfectionism, and how imposter syndrome really go hand in hand. Because at the end of the day, we are measured, or it's that constant worry about measuring up to those goals. And so, let me tell you that the perfectionist part of me felt like I couldn't get started. I struggled and had difficulties not just getting started, but it had to be perfect. Okay? It had to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. And we know that is not realistic, and that is not the way to get things done. That is not the way to accomplish things. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. And so I had to understand, and unleashing my greatness and tapping into my potential, I had to deal with my misconception, that's a misconception of growth that I was dealing with. That was a growth gap that I was dealing with, in the fact that I felt like if it's not perfect, I can't push forward. I can't I can't go. And so guess what? I was stuck. Before I launched my business, that's where I was. I was stuck because everything had to be perfect. I had to have the website up, and the website had to be all the way together, and I had to have all these different pieces. Now, yes, I'm not saying that websites and some of the other pieces that go along with having a business is not important. However, those are pieces of the puzzle. We don't have to feel like the whole puzzle has to be completed before we actually launch something. So, and I think that that's where we get stuck too, with just unleashing our own greatness and recognizing that we don't have to have the complete puzzle together before we're able to unleash our greatness and tap into our potential. And so that's where I was. I was feeling stuck. I was like, I thought I had to be perfect. Now, where did that come from? I have no idea where it came from. But the fact of the matter is that it was there. And that was the narrative that I was telling myself. And I began to ask those questions to tap into, how can I still continue to grow? How can I not only grow, but really tap into unleashing my greatness and not hide behind this perfectionist a hat that I was trying to continue to wear. So, one of the things too that I feel like goes hand in hand, and since I'm going there with being a perfectionist, I really feel like it's that whole notion of us being a superwoman and superman. So, I wear the S on my chest, right? That's what we're doing. We're wearing the S on our chest and feeling like we have to be everything at all times to everyone. And here's what I'm going to tell you again, that again, dealing with imposter syndrome, that's when you are convinced that you don't measure up. You don't measure up to everyone else. And so you're trying to be, you're trying to push yourself harder to measure up to someone else that you're comparing yourself to, which again, we've already established that it's not okay to compare yourself to anyone but your own progress. And so where I have had that S on my chest, thinking that I have to just continue to push forward no matter what. And we do have to push forward no matter what. But at the end of the day, when we're dealing with the Superman and Superwoman syndrome, and not, that's the syndrome I just made up, but when we're dealing with the Superman and Superwoman syndrome, and looking at other people and saying, you know what? It's one thing to say, I'm going to keep pushing forward because these are the goals that I'm trying to accomplish. I'm going to keep pushing forward and I'm going to let nothing stop me. It's one thing to have that S on your chest in that instance, but it's another thing when that S is on your chest and you are comparing yourself and you're saying, I have to keep pushing forward because I got to keep up with the Joneses. I got to keep pushing forward because I got to keep up with this person that has reached this level of success, and I feel like I should be where they are. I have to keep this S on my chest, even in the midst of I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out. You might still be a perfectionist. I'm stressed out because the fact that I feel like my validation comes from being busy and not actually from the work itself. So there's so many different pieces when it comes down to dealing with imposter syndrome and how it gets in the way of us unleashing our greatness and activating that greatness within us. Okay. My goodness. Now, again, this is so powerful because at the end of the day, as I continue just tapping into this, you are going to find yourself fitting in one of these buckets, if not even all. And I'm speaking to you from experience because I've been there. I've been there. I've felt how I have felt stuck. And if I'm going to be totally honest, I have felt stuck in like I can't move because of the self-doubt that I'm dealing with, because the fact that I'm dealing with, okay, I have this greatness. Everyone tells me that I have this greatness, but I have to begin to see it for myself. What does my greatness look like? How can I begin to tap into using what God has given me? What does my greatness look like? And so, again, I know that the struggles that I dealt with recognizing that I had the resources in myself, and this was on a journey where I was literally reaching out. And you know how sometimes we invest into this thing, and then we invest into that thing, and it's like we have that, every time, the shiny object syndrome. Okay, now we're gonna just tap into all kinds of syndromes on today's show. We have the shiny object syndrome where, oh, sounds good. I think this is going to help me. And this is really going to help me unleash my greatness and really tap into, who I am, and be able to really bring forth what I feel like is within me. This is going to help me. It's that thing right there. And so we invest into that. And then once we discover we invest into it, it's good. It's good from the very beginning. But yet, what we realize is the inconsistencies in using whatever that opportunity was, or whatever that thing was, that program that we invested in. And then here's the next thing that we've jumped into that looks good, that we feel like, oh, yes, this is going to help me. This is going to help me. Yet we haven't even tapped into what we've utilized in the first investment. Here's what I'm going to say today. Because at the end of the day, when we're looking at all of these programs and all of these things that are out there that's designed to help us, and there's 5 steps to unleash our greatness, and 10 ways to live your best life, and all of these different things. Again, it all comes down to you. It comes back to you, and you seeing, believing in yourself, and knowing that you have within you. Yes, there are resources we're going to have to go out and get. I can't tell you how many resources I invested in over the years. But it all comes back down to me, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to feel like I am just, buying into this resource and buying into that resource. And I haven't even begun to tap into understanding who I am and what I have. So my skills, and really taking that inventory of me, my weaknesses, my strengths. If you haven't done that, stop investing into program after program after program, unless it's going to help you go through that process in discovering you. And don't after investing into that program, jump to the next one without completing that process, without recognizing the greatness in yourself.
Are you ready to unlock your maximum potential and elevate your Boss CEO journey? Join the Boss CEO Challenge, inspired by the best-selling book, Unlocking Your Maximum Potential, a 30-day devotional for boss CEOs. So what is a boss CEO? A boss CEO is a visionary leader, motivator, and influencer who takes charge, inspires others, and drives their life and business towards success with confidence and innovation. In this transformative 30-day challenge, you'll dive into powerful devotions that will provide you with actionable insights to supercharge your boss CEO skills. And the best part, each participant will receive an autographed copy of the book, making it a keepsake on your journey to success. But that's not all. You'll also gain exclusive access to engaging videos and live events designed to help you truly unlock your maximum potential. This challenge is exactly what you need to do to connect with like-minded boss CEOs and share your growth experiences in our supportive community. Don't wait any longer to elevate your business and transform your mindset. Click the link in the show notes to join the Boss CEO Challenge today. Unlock your potential, connect with a community of achievers, and step into the Boss CEO you were meant to be.
Telling you, I have been there. I listen, what they say, I've been there, I've done that, I've bought a t-shirt. Yes, when I tell you that when I think about my own journey and how I was there and investing in certain programs, program after program, and this is going to help me, this is going to help me, and this is going to help me. And I'm not saying we shouldn't develop ourselves, because I definitely believe as a coach, I encourage each and every one of you, as I do my clients, to invest and develop in yourself. However, don't keep investing and investing when you haven't even tapped into the greatness and tapped into the discovery and developing from the very first program. So again, when we're dealing with the self-doubt, when we're dealing with the imposter syndrome, when we're dealing with just really recognizing who we are, it's such a powerful thing, because I really feel like, and I feel like this is the perfect time to really pull in the spiritual side of things, because I know that it really stemmed from my relationship and from a spiritual with God, with knowing that I had everything in me already, that I didn't have to run to all these different places. And if to really be honest, it may not be a a program that you're running to. It could be all kinds of different things that we're running to. We can be running to different relationships and running to different people, thinking that our greatness is in that person. We can be running to different jobs and thinking, you know what, my greatness is in this job. I'm gonna find it here. I'm going to find my greatness. If I move to Florida, I'm going to find my greatness if I do X, Y, and Z. And so we find ourselves running around trying to find something that is already within us. If we would just sit down, sit down somewhere and really begin to deal with self, deal with who you are, looking like when you look at yourself in the mirror, who do you see? What do you see? Do you know whose you are? Do you know where you are right now and where you're trying to go, and what you have within you already that's going to be able to get you there? Not what do you have in you that's going to get you there, and what can you buy, what can you purchase that's going to help you get there. Because if we're not able to sit down and really discover who we are, then I'm going to tell you, you're always going to be in search. You're always going to be searching for something. You're always going to be searching for your greatness somewhere, instead of looking from within yourself. So, one of the other things that we deal with when it comes down to really that imposter syndrome and us looking inside ourselves and recognizing our own greatness is the soloist. So, when I say soloist, I mean us wanting to be independent. And I think it's okay to be independent. But when you push away help because you want to prove your own worth, you're going to fall into a few different buckets or categories. You feel you're strong and need to accomplish things on your own. You often think or say, I don't need anyone's help, which is not true. And let's just stop there for a second, because when I tell you the struggles that I have even dealt with in getting rid of that pride thing, the pride part of it, in recognizing that you need other people. People are there to support. We are here to support each other on this journey. So yes, it is important for you to recognize your greatness from within. However, don't push people out. that wants to help you, that wants to empower you, that wants to support you through that process. Don't push other people out. Don't push people away. Don't push people away. Now, I'll tell you that I don't feel like I've pushed people away in my own journey. However, we have those modes when we go into where it's like a shutdown mode where we may not share with other people what's going on in our life and that we're feeling stuck and that we're dealing with imposter syndrome and that we're really trying to tap into our own greatness. What I know is that people need people. We need each other. We need to be able to celebrate each other. We need to be able to reach out and say, you know what? I am dealing with this imposter syndrome. I'm dealing with this today. I'm dealing with this negative, this negative self talk. I'm dealing with this negative narrative that I am telling myself, and I just need to talk this out. I need to talk this out. I need to deal with this right now. And in reaching out to someone, make sure it's someone that is going to celebrate you, someone that understands your journey, someone that is not going to encourage the negative self talk that you're already doing in your life. Be careful of those you connect with and reach out to. And I feel like I've talked about this more than once on this show and how important it is when we're on this journey, especially when you're on the journey of just unleashing your greatness. It's important to connect with people that are on the same journey, that understand, and that's going to feed you with positivity and not feed you with negativity. Because if it's one thing that I know is while you're on this journey, and we're all on the journey, we may be at different parts, different levels, different stages of our journeys, but we're all on this journey of unleashing our greatness. And so we have to really be careful of those that you allow in to your journey of unleashing your greatness. When I say you have to be careful, that is serious. And I say that because I've experienced letting people in that should not have been in on me on my journey and me recognizing my potential because of if it's anything, especially someone that is in the early stages of developing their self-confidence and that's building their self-esteem. It's very vital for you to make sure you surround yourself with positivity so that you don't allow someone else's narrative, okay? Someone else's narrative that's either in their life that they're trying to speak from what's going on in their life and try to project onto you. You want to make sure you're not allowing them to project their narrative onto your life and you're not receiving it. So many of us will receive other people's narrative not just for their life, but for our own and start adapting it like it's our own. And so while we're on this journey of unleashing our greatness, be careful of the people that you choose to surround yourself with. Be careful because again, it's very very serious how we who we interact with, who we connect with, and ultimately how we're going to treat ourselves. So we don't look at, you know, by us connecting with people that's continue to feed negativity into our life, and we don't look at it as a way that it is really affecting self. So um, and not when I say affecting self, I'm not speaking from a abusive point of view. What I'm really speaking from is we have to be mindful of the way that we treat others, and at the same time, that means in the narrative that people are speaking to you, that are trying to speak through you, and then you're speaking to other people. Oh, this is just it's so good, and in the fact that I've recognized that I have been in so many different places, so many different stages of just dealing with this imposter syndrome and in dealing with my own self-doubt and the narrative that I have told myself where whether I shared it with someone else that I'm telling myself that narrative. And I think when you're in certain positions and you are almost, sometimes people have a tendency to put you on some kind of pedestal. And I'm not saying that, there's good things and bad things about that, but at the same time, when people are putting you on whatever kind of level and saying you're successful, they don't really recognize the things that you deal with from the day to day. And I feel like that is evident in how we look at some of the famous people and the stars and the athletes and everything else. And we have a tendency to put them on a pedestal because of what we see on social media, what we see in the limelight. However, behind closed doors, we don't know the struggles that they're going through. We don't know what they're, dealing with from a day to day basis, whether it's financial issues, whether it's um, mental issues, whether it's relationship, issues. We don't know some of the things. All we know is what has been shared with us. And so I just, it's just so powerful because to me, when we just think about just this journey of unleashing our greatness and how we compare ourselves. And again, I have to keep coming back to the comparison because we look at, even like I said, the stars, the famous, and we have them on this pedestal. And it's like, oh, they're great. They're great. Oh, I want to be like, this person, or I want to be like that person. And that's all fine and dandy if we are inspired by that. But at the end of the day, what are you doing in your own life in order for you to reach a higher level? What are you doing in your own life to accomplish or to position yourself, that is, on that level of greatness that you want to be? Are we letting those opportunities go by us? Are we taking day by day and saying, you know what? It's a new day. What am I going to do today to tap into my greatness, to really unleash my potential? Because if it's one thing that I know is that we think that we have years and years upon years and months, but I think that we as a society have learned how life is so short. Life is too short to keep saying that I'm going to do this and next year I'm going to work on this, and if I just move to Texas or move to Florida, then everything is going to line up and everything will be great. And but what are you doing right now? So, yes, it's the time to unleash your greatness. But the key words are, it's time to unleash your greatness. That means right now. What are you doing right now to unleash your greatness? What are you working on today that is going to push you or position you to be the better version of yourself? I tell you that for me, it started with recognizing where I was, who I was, and where I was. And although it may be hard for us to sit down with ourselves and just have that alone time, that reflection time, to really begin to ask yourselves those questions, it will make you think about this journey that you're on. It will pull out so many of our great qualities and our strengths, and then also cause us to recognize the areas that we're weak. And those areas are the areas that we need to go out and find resources to help us tap into different things. If we're trying to launch a business, if we're trying to do, different things and want to position ourselves for certain opportunities, then yes, we have to tap into our skills, our qualities, our weaknesses, our strengths. And in recognizing that it comes with that willingness that we each have to possess, that we each have to say, you know what? I'm not going to let another day go by where I'm not going to work on me. I'm not going to let another hour, a whole day go by where I'm not going to start focusing on what it is I need to do. Maybe there's a dream that you've always, something that you've always been dreaming about doing. Maybe there's a career, there is a, I don't even know, just anything that you have been dreaming about doing in your life, that you have, for whatever reason, said, I'm just going to put this on the shelf and let it sit and let it sit. And then maybe one day I'll take it off the shelf and then begin to unpack it and pull out the things and see if there's anything else I have to add to it. And so, and as I close today, I just want you to know that if you have been trying to sit your greatness on a shelf, or it's been sitting on the shelf collecting dust, I need you to pull it off the shelf. Okay, pull it off the shelf, sit it down, and begin to unpack what your greatness looks like. Begin to unpack it. It may cause you to deal with pain. It may cause you to deal with some hurts, some disappointments that you've had in the past. But guess what? We have to be willing. Again, there's that word willing. We have to be willing to deal with those things in order for us to be who we are created to be. It's then and only then, when we begin to deal with self, that we can begin to activate our greatness, that we can begin to unleash our greatness and who we are. I am so excited to be just on this journey and able to really pour in and encourage and empower each and every one of you. We're going to continue talking about unleashing your greatness. And as we just continue with the upcoming shows, we will go back to talking about the winning book by Tim Grover. I really felt the need that today I needed to really tap into this, because when you see the greatness in other people, and yet they still have yet to recognize their own greatness, I can encourage you all day long. I can empower you all day long that you are great. You are great. You can be, do, and have what you want in life. But at the end of the day, it takes you to believe. Belief drives behavior. It takes you to believe it. And then for you to start executing, and taking action. Now, I thank you so much for all the support that each and every one of you give each and every week. I thank you for all of the countries that continue to tune in each and every week and support the Empower Hour with Jaresha show. Please, please tune in next week, where you will hear another amazing story and insights and tips and tools of the journey from a leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, stay safe and be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journey in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit www.empoweronpurpose.com. Remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.